Hello, June. I'm glad you're here. Just set everything up. It's Wednesday again. And I'm really happy to be here because I may have to take a couple weeks off because next week is the 4th of July, and then I might have something going on the following week. But 4th of July, Independence Day in the United States. So Tuesday is a holiday. I'm not going to do my Tuesday Facebook Live at debbiebrownquilts.com, and I'm not going to do my Wednesday night feather along open studio because it's the day after the 4th of July, which would be July 5th in every other country. But it's a travel holiday. So a lot of people will be out of town. So I'm going to push it off till the next week. And then the next week is tentative. I might have a few things going on. So I'm happy to be here. I have something new in my backdrop. Hello in Australia. Good morning. It's good to see you. Um, I finished quilting Celebrate, and I'm really excited about it. It was really fun. For those who aren't involved in color blocks are sewing 16 patches together of your scraps and then a bunch of different quilts to make out of it. This one was balloons. So I had my balloons, I pictured them all just bumping up against the ceiling and hanging down with their strings. And then I also pictured streamers hanging down with it. So that's how I quilted it. Hi, Janet. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. So I'm really excited to have that done. That's the latest thing up in color blocks. The latest thing in As the Bobbin Turns is using a black light or an ultraviolet light while you're quilting. So I have information on that in As the Bobbin Turns, which is my subscriber only video area. These are still pictures, but it will make sense. You'll see how it helps you see your markings and your thread while you're quilting. And now that should all have come out to you in an email. My newsletter, I pressed send on that about maybe an hour ago. So you should have all that. And now I get to start working on the next newsletter, which is more As the Bobbin Turns, more color blocks, more. So, hello. Tonight, well, the first thing is today is just another long, rainy day. So I didn't get as much done as I wanted to. But the excitement is I have a margarita pizza ready to go into the oven because it's fresh basil season. And tomorrow I will get to I will be spending hours at the farm picking quarts of currants and blueberries and raspberries and then herbs and peas. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time outside tomorrow. I have to quilt tonight to catch up with it. And I will be quilting tonight because as soon as we're done here, well, not as soon, but the next hour, if you go over to Gudrun Erla, I believe she's gequiltdesigns.com. And she also, in her Facebook group, has a quilt along of her new pattern, Kobe. And I'm using some really fun fabrics, and I will be making that tonight because I'm a fangirl. I try so hard to only make my own patterns because I'm a pattern designer. I should catch up with my own work. But sometimes you just see something so yummy, and then I remember that I have really fun fabrics that I should play with. Isn't that really pretty? I'm making the throw size quilt, and it takes 18 fat quarters. I might have 20 to 30 to 40 different fat quarter packs that I could cut into, and I decided to cut into this butterscotch. So that's what I'll be doing next. But what we're doing now is talking about feathers. So my feather along is going lesson by lesson through my online class on how to machine quilt feathers. I'm really proud of that class. It has so much information in it, but I thought I'd give you a place that you could ask questions. I got the last lesson and this lesson reversed. So this is week 8 of it, but I'm actually doing lesson 7 because I got them backwards. I'm going to share a screen and I'll start drawing to show you. This is an edge-to-edge feather, a feather design that goes all over your quilt. And I have a lot of quilts I've been basting up, and I may quilt another one like this. when I was quilting for customers, this was a customer favorite. This was also a fabric company favorite. They thought it looked really good on their designs. And since it is tight quilting and looser quilting, you have some ups and downs that the you can see the quilted and unquilted areas. So when you do feathers with tight background quilting, makes the feathers pop out, which means if you're using light colored fabric, this is a great place to use a wool batting or a polyester batting with some loft, because a taller batting will show off that quilting a little more. So let me show you. Let's go into the window. Okay, everyone always asks, this is a word program, and I'm just drawing on the screen. Let me hide this. So what I do for an edge to edge, I'm going to assume that the part of this, what you can see on your screen is the quilt. And the first thing I need to do is make a spine. If this is the whole quilt, I might make a spine that's that shaped, or I could come in and make a spine that's an S. I just make a free form curve. And then when I do this, these are going to be the basic feathers that we worked on in lesson 1. And these feathers I can do in either direction. I can do from the bottom up or the top down. So you'll notice I quilt them both ways if you look very carefully at what I do. So if you can only quilt the feathers in one way, which is great, because congratulations, you can quilt the feathers in one direction. That's huge. That's so much more than not being able to quilt feathers in any direction. But if you're starting at the bottom, make your feathers look like this. And then I have to get my thread, my needle, back down to do my feathers in the same direction. So I can retrace the spine, but since I know I'm going to be doing background quilting, I'm going to echo my way back down. I think I need to buy a new pen. Now that I'm down here, I can work my way up again. And work my way back down. And I'm going to fill in this corner here with background quilting. And all my background quilting is going to be is to continue with these curves. So I'm echoing nothing to start with, and then that gives me something to work on. And then I can work on where my next spine is. So let's come over here. And I do try to make them go in different directions. So I'll do my feather that way, finish this feather, fill in the echoing in here, and then I'll come, whoop, I did something to my screen, hold on. And then I would come over and then maybe do one in a different direction. So I try to have them not all the same and not all lined up as a series of S's or a series of J's or something. But I do that all over a quilt. So let me come back. Stop screen sharing. Did that make sense for you? Whenever I do those sort of feathers, whenever I do any sort of an edge-to-edge design like that, if I'm working on a long arm, on a frame, I'm going to start at the top and quilt the visible area, and I'll leave the bottom uneven. Like I won't quilt all the way down to the bottom reach so that it's square or straight, because I don't want to roll up and have a real obvious straight place. So I'll leave, the curve at the bottom, a little curve at the bottom here, a little curve at the bottom there, and I'll scoot the next feathers up and into that so that they nest. And then your eye doesn't have that straight line going across. That works really well. The problem, well, the downside to doing that is if you're used to getting 12 inches of quilting space done, you might only achieve 8 because you can't roll it up all the way because you didn't finish it. So you may have to roll your quilt more often, but the pattern's so pretty, I find it's worth it. If I'm working on a home sewing machine, I'll have my quilt and I might quilt a few feathers down that center section. Then I would quilt my way out one side, turn the quilt my way out the other side. Oh, you don't recall doing this one when you did the class. Try it on a UFO. It's really fun. Go back and watch the class. If you haven't bought the class, go to debbiebrownquilts.com, click on the feather class and work your way through. Can you show a quilt so we can see the finished product? Yes. Let's find out. Hold on just a second. I'm going to pull up a picture. And here, feathers. And I think I said that was lesson 7 because I got them backwards. All right, now I have the picture up and I will show you this screen. There we go. That's the quilt. So that is the quilt that I did in the class. In the class, I have a pattern for using 2 packs of charm squares, and it's a really great quilt to give away. There's a local charity to me that gives meals and quilts and supports families who have a family member going through cancer. So I dropped off a whole stack of quilts, and I've also sent them to some new mom bags. So these make some really fun baby quilts. If you have a couple of charm square packs, great for practice. And I quilted this one using black thread so that you could see it. The fabric wasn't light colored or plain, so it's going to be harder to see. I had to throw it out over a rock in my front yard. I have natural boulders in my front yard. So you can see the echoing here and the feathers there. And it worked really well. Let me come back to see you now. Oh, so Anita, that worked for you? Good. So that is in the class. There are drawings in there of each section as we go along. There's a video of me quilting it. So there's more in the class. This was just to talk about a fun, this is just giving a little more information or a little different information to supplement the class or to help you work along with it. Also to give you a place to ask some questions. So as I'm finishing quilts now, I'm thinking about doing some more spirals, and I'm thinking about my next feather class because there's so much more. So hopefully this has whet your appetite for feathers. Again, it'll be a couple more weeks. I'm taking next week off. We have 2 more lessons to go through. And then I'm thinking about what the next feather class might be like. I have notes on it, but I might have to start quilting it and see if we start that in the fall. That could be fun. So that is what I have for quilting. Let me see. I didn't see any more questions coming in, but hopefully that whet your appetite, gave you a little more information or a refresher for the course. I will not be here next Wednesday night for the 4th of July holiday in the United States. Figuring a lot of you might be traveling, and then the next week I might be traveling. But stay tuned. There are invitations that will go out and posts of videos that are coming that will be on my Debbie Brown Quilts Facebook pages. And I think it's also in my newsletter. So stay in touch. I hope you're having as fun of a summer as I am. If it's summer where you live, I don't think it is where everyone lives if we have someone here from Melbourne. It's also not Wednesday for everyone. It's Thursday in Melbourne. So I hope you're enjoying whatever the weather is where you are and enjoying the best of the season. and also having fun quilting some quilts. I will be back again in 2 weeks, possibly 3, and I will see you then. Stay in touch through any social media with the @Debbie Brown Quilts. Bye.